Okay.
I believe Bill Pixton just joined us.
Okay.
There he
Yep.
is.
Hi,
Bill.
folks.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome everyone. We do not have a quorum, correct, Dan?
That's correct. Not
We
yet.
need one more person.
One more.
So I'm going to, I want to welcome everybody. I hope everyone made it through this winter. Because it was a tough one. But I'm going to skip the approval of the meeting minutes. And if Wole would just allow Dr. McLean to report before he does, I would like to ask Dr. McLean. He has a family emergency and needs to leave by 4:30. So, Wole, is that okay?
Yes, that's fine. Please
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay,
Will.
so I'm going to call on Dr. Adam McLean for a faculty representative update, and then we'll go back to the, and hopefully Nikki will join us.
Yeah, and
Or,
sorry,
or, Keith Levatino was gonna be late also. Thank you.
thanks everybody. And yeah, I'm in Atlanta right now. I had a family emergency come up and family, very close friends emergency come up kind of a thing. And I had to fly down. I'll be back in New York tomorrow night, but it was unexpected. I don't really have a lot to update you on from the faculty end. Most of you know that we passed an updated faculty handbook at the January meeting of the Faculty Assembly. That's an important component of the middle states process for people who don't know. Not having an up-to-date handbook also leaves us open to things like legal liability. And the Faculty Assembly has now voted on and approved a new faculty handbook, which now exists. My priority for this spring is I would like to get our faculty assembly and Senate bylaws updated and voted on. The other thing that's top of mind for me right now is Mark, forgive me if I'm stealing your thunder on this one, but the Dean of Arts and Sciences search is proceeding apace. We're bringing some very good candidates in to look at them more closely, bringing them into campus. We believe we have some very strong potential people in that pool, and I'm on the search committee for that. We're excited about that. I'm racking my brain. I'm sorry, I'm not thinking completely straight right now about anything else from the faculty end. We have our undergraduate research showcase coming up in April. That's a big one on the radar, and I can send out exact information about that to everybody, dates and times and everything, at some point after the meeting. I guess the only other news from my end is that I've decided I am going to seek a second term as chair of the assembly. Whether or not I am elected as such will remain to be seen, but I'll stand for reelection at the May meeting. I'm then term limited after, if I am reelected, it's a 2-year term, and then I am term limited out after that as chair. But I was on the fence, but I'm going to seek a second term. And so we'll see what happens with that if I get reelected or not. If not, it's been a pleasure serving on college council with all of you. But if so, then, I'll continue to serve.
Great.
Does anybody have any questions for me about anything on the faculty end of the house?
So do
No
you,
question. Oh, I'm sorry,
go ahead,
Rowan.
go ahead.
This is Michelle. Get me a copy of it so we can have it in HR and we can make sure that we're, handing it out to new hires, et cetera. Just an operational thing.
A copy of which, I'm sorry?
The handbook, the faculty.
Faculty manual?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can absolutely make sure and do that. Yeah, Michelle. Yep.
Yeah. And please take care of yourself and your family. Let
Oh,
us know
thank
if
you.
you need anything.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Any other questions? Or I want to thank you for getting that approved and done, Adam. That was a good accomplishment.
I appreciate that, Ryan. Thank you.
Yep. I think Nicole just joined us. Is that true?
Correct. And Keith also.
And Keith. Okay, so we now
Hi,
have.
yes.
Hi, Nikki, and hi, Keith. Thank you for joining us. The only thing you missed was Adam gave us his report, and They not only developed the new faculty manual, but it's been approved. And that will go a long way to satisfy Middle States accreditation. So thank you. And I will now go back to the minutes, approving the meeting minutes. Everyone received them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve? And then we'll have a discussion
So-
if anybody has a discussion.
So moved.
So moved. Bill, is that you, Bill?
That's me.
Okay. Anyone have any questions, concerns, or changes to the meeting minutes of September 17th, 2024? Hearing none. Can I have a second?
I second. This is Nicole.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. Nicole, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. The motion is unanimous. We've approved the September College Council minutes. Okay. Now we will go to our president's report. And I will send it over to Dr. Sabeja.
Thank you, Roanne. So really want to express my appreciation to the College Council and to all faculty, staff, and students. We've had a great year so far, academic year, and we have a lot to be thankful for in that. As you'll see in this report, I think on all fronts, we're making good progress. So I want to thank you for your efforts last year, and want to thank you for all that we will do together this year as well. So moving on and talking about activities in the 4 colleges, it's very exciting just to see each of the colleges build out in terms of fulfilling its mission. The interactive media and game design program, which is the second largest program in arts and sciences, is continuing to represent Poly in many events across the state, with a lot of significant activities engaging our students in this new major. We also have faculty that are continuing to do exciting things. Anna Joffrey is presenting at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History this spring. Adam McLean, who you just heard from, is traveling to Madagascar for the summer to study primates, lemur, biodiversity in very sort of distinct terrain of Madagascar, which hosts the widest ranges of these lemur animals. Darlene Adabo is organizing or co-organizing non-commutative algebra and representative theory in a place called Banff, which is one of the most beautiful parts of Canada.
Oh, it sure is.
And
Can I go with her?
I think we all want to go. So a lot of great things happening in arts and sciences, where we're also searching for a permanent dean. And then in the College of Business, we've been very active in the New York Mohawk Valley Regional Business Plan Competition. And we also have students participating in the Lockheed Martin Ethics in Engineering competition. So that college, as I'll show you later, is also developing a new initiative, which is very exciting and being embraced by everyone. The College of Engineering has had great success with its faculty developing new support in climate change and wireless communication areas, amongst others. We've also had with the new dean, Abdullah Ahoglu, the reorganization of the college, which now has more than 1 or 2 departments. So we now have mechanical and civil engineering, we also have electrical and computer engineering, and then the cybersecurity folks merge in with electrical and computer engineering, in addition to a separate component of computer science. Next, please. And then within the College of Health Sciences, there's a lot going on with new Dean, Dean Kilson. And I have to say, he's managed to achieve a lot in his first year with us. We're showing you here the white coat ceremony, which is essentially when the nurse is qualified to go into clinical training. And lots and lots of excitement about the formation of a school of nursing, which will actually happen later on in March. And then the growth in our family nurse practitioner education programs, which are sort of gaining increasing recognition. So now talking more about the strategic plan, which is entitled Elevating Impact. Of course, this is built around our 4 pillars. And so pillar 1, which focuses on student success, is sort of seen as thinking about all the things that we need to focus on to create a great student experience at SUNY Poly. So spend quite a lot of money on outdoor fields to make sure that they're ready for outdoor competition. We were able to find, I think it was $700,000 to spend on some of the pitches this year. We're also doing a review of a demand study and endorsing its use for modeling the House Master Plan. We're doing some things in student accessibility, and we're working on developing different models of academic advising to better support our students. And so these efforts have seen us now starting to hire new people to support the student advising process in the first year. And this effort is going to continue to grow because this is one of the keys to student success.
Wole, could I just interject here? When you're ensuring that all the outdoor fields are safe, are you dealing with the water issue that tends to flood some of the fields?
Yes, we're dealing with the water issue, and but the biggest issue is also related to earth, and so those take up quite a lot of money to manage. But Mary Ellen was able to find some resources this year that we're investing in keeping those at the required levels for competition.
Okay.
And then in our interactions, if you could please go back, in our interactions with Mohawk Valley Community College, we identified this idea of the Inclusive Center for Teaching and Learning. And we're now working to build an Inclusive Center for Teaching and Learning to support the professional development of faculty and staff. And then several staff and faculty positions are in development. And we have active searches to fill key roles that accomplish student success goals and objectives. Andy, do you want to say a few words about faculty searches in terms of where we are?
Yeah, it's my favorite time of the year. I get to meet, dozens of highly qualified people in fields ranging from public health to computer science to psychology and engineering and more. And to tell them about the great opportunities here. It's an especially good year to be recruiting faculty because they see New York as compatible with their values, and many other states can't say that, and many other systems can't say that the way that we can, thanks to Chancellor King. So the pool is exceptionally strong this year. The trick in these hires is to find people who fit really well and can wear many hats. We don't have the luxury, like a large university, of hiring someone like me to teach U.S. history from 1870 to 1890 and never talk to anybody else. These people need to be conversant in their discipline and also know how to collaborate across disciplines, across colleges, and across the boundaries of the campus. So I think we'll continue to hire really excellent faculty, really enthused to be a part of it.
Thank you. Next, please. In the pillar 2, which focuses on branding and external partnerships, those partnerships are really helping us in many ways, not only to raise our profile, but to raise funds to support the university. So we've raised over $600,000 for the business center, which is an idea that we've been sort of developing over the last few months. We also have at least $5 million in defense appropriation in the Senate markup in our AI foundational modeling team. And we're working hard to secure, in addition to that, $4 million for defense radio frequency program and $20 million for NAVC maintenance technologies, additive manufacturing repair program with the University of Houston. In addition to that, we raised $400,000 from an NSF EPIC grant for industry partnerships with people like Scott Shivo, working with Wayne and others to secure the funds for workforce development. We're also building lots of industry-based consortia, developing all sorts of action items with companies here in the Mohawk Valley and beyond in ways that are really informing what we do in student projects, as well as what we do in our research. And we have marketing plans and an RFP for a SUNY Poly website. And Wayne, do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, I'll talk on the enrollment marketing campaigns. My office and the Office of Communications and Marketing is working very closely with our enrollment team to really not only raise the visibility of SUNY Poly, but really target our campaigns. For example, right now we're in a yield campaign, and that's targeting those students geographically, but also those students have been accepted. They've applied, they've been accepted, so we're honing in on reeling them in, getting them to commit and deposit at SUNY Poly. So I know Andy's going to talk later about the enrollment, but there's a direct correlation between the enrollment marketing campaigns that we're doing locally and throughout the state and what that means for our fall class. And then just real quick on the website, we've talked about this for many years. The campus is pretty excited about it. We're almost ready to launch an RFP that will allow us to bring in a vendor to help with our new website development and creation. And so we're looking forward to embracing the entire campus in that process. So stay tuned, more to follow.
Thanks, Wayne.
Can I
Go ahead.
ask a question? I think sometimes we use acronyms. So could somebody explain to everyone the 20 million NAVC, and I know the National Science Foundation and the EPHC grant? I think sometimes we talk in alphabet soup, and I don't think everybody understands it. So I'm going to ask the crazy question. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Roanne. You're right. We all do that, especially in higher ed. So the NSF is National Science Foundation.
Right.
It's a grant. I can't remember exactly what EPIC is. Andy might be able to help me there. Working with Scott Schiebel, that is specifically a grant that focuses on partnerships and the creation of partnerships regionally. So in fact, that's a grant where we went down to Atlanta to form a cohort with other institutions. So we're in a cohort with SUNY Geneseo, University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, Houston Community College, and a community college out in Arizona. And so the approach is we learn from each other to develop industry partnerships at home and create workforce development opportunities. So Rohan, one of the elements of this is to really set up some extension sites to where SUNY Poly can set up an office at various industry partners to grow workforce, help those organizations upskill, and certainly provide graduate and hopefully down the road PhD opportunities for those employees. So it's really to grow the brand. On the NAVC project, I know Wally can speak a little bit to this, but that's Navy Sea Command. And again, these are all centered around our work in the defense appropriation world. This one in particular is one that wasn't funded, but we're working with our business development consultant to really harness partnerships with Xerox and the University of Houston to create a national bipartisan support for this project. And so SUNY Poly is at the table with these partners, and we'll talk a little bit about it more. We're hoping that we see some revenue from it.
Andy, I see in the chat you identified Epic. Do you want to just tell us?
Yeah, enabling partnerships to increase innovation capacity. And that it's spelled out. It links to the NSF website that explains the background of the solicitation.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Andy.
you.
Thank you, Andy. And thanks, Wayne.
You bet.
So, and by the way, the success in a lot of this is being built on interdisciplinary teams that we have started. So, for example, the AI interdisciplinary team is responsible for sort of 9 million of these funds. And then the materials and manufacturing interdisciplinary team is responsible for that $20 million opportunity. So it just shows the value of bringing people together in these groups that then puts us in a position to aim for some of these goals. So essentially, then in the K-12 arena, we've been reaching out to the superintendents. So we invited all the superintendents in the area for a breakfast where we really presented to them what SUNY Poly is doing and why they should really send their students here. And I have to say this was extremely successful. Just a few days ago, I was at an educational workshop where a couple of the superintendents told me that not only were they recommending students for their district, but they were also sending their own kids to SUNY Poly in the next batch. And so these efforts are working in addition to the Spotlight series, which has a lot of camp-like activities organized year-round to attract lots of kids in the K-12 regime to SUNY Poly. Next, please. In terms of capital projects, we have about $39 million of construction fund money that's being used to restore and renovate the campus in various ways. This is going very well, and some of the work is already completed or near completion, including the renovation of Mohawk and Adirondack residence halls. We're also working on a residence life housing master plan and creating not just physical infrastructure, but virtual infrastructure in virtual desktops that are being developed to expand Wi-Fi access and digital resources. And then the retrofit of Donovan is already started. The business center space is in 1229 Donovan. That effort is ongoing, and as is the effort to sort of renovate the lounge spaces for students in Adirondack and Mohawk, as well as the Consella admissions lobby. So lots and lots of refresh going on around campus to maintain our virtual and physical infrastructure. In academic pillar 4, which is the one with a focus on academic excellence, lots of new program proposals and support. Andy, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just I'm excited that allergy season is here, but allergy season's also here. So the faculty are doing some amazing work on all fronts. What's highlighted here are new program proposals. We're expanding at the master's level, and it's almost too much for us to keep track of. You see some of the programs listed: master's degrees in civil, mechanical, electrical, an update to systems, a bachelor's in physics, and several more in the planning process. As you know, New York State has a elaborate process for approving these things, and each of these are at various phases of submission and approval. All of them have cleared the first hurdle, and SUNY has invited the full submission for all of them. Civil's at the final stage. There's also been a burst of support from SUNY that we've been implementing on campus, thanks in large part to our Director for Continuing Professional Education, Scott Schiebel. SUNY and its partners are really interested in certifications that are aligned with the workforce needs and industry demand. So this two examples include some certifications that are aligned with Google certifications or industry certifications for things like AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, and so on. Also, the New York Power Authority, or NYPA, has invested quite a bit of money through SUNY into power engineering and workforce development. So Scott's been our point of contact with the SUNY Provost office to get those funds to campus and get not only our own students trained, but to extend those opportunities out into the community. Next is the 14 new research centers that have been funded in the past year. For those of you who have been part of our community for a while, this is really a point of pride for all of us. It used to be that our other campus, 90 miles away, got all the attention for their research centers. But what we've been able to do with some modest investments is to unleash in faculty the desire to collaborate and to do it in areas that really have impact in all of our colleges in engineering, business, health sciences, and arts and sciences. So we'll have an announcement soon about the 4 new research centers that we've just awarded in the past week. And we got a lot of favorable press coverage about the 10 research centers that we announced in October. This is all under the leadership of Mike Carpenter, our Vice President for Research, and his team is expanding with a grant writer and administrative assistant who's starting this week as well. And finally, bringing the strategic plan full circle, Wally mentioned before an initiative to start a Center for Inclusive Teaching Excellence. MVCC does this really well. It's a faculty-driven initiative, which means that faculty convince one another to get involved. So it's not a task, it's really a joy for them. This is a nice complement to some training opportunities that we provide across campus that thanks to partnership from a number of people. I know Michelle Kilburn and Jennifer Adams are on this call. They do a lot of professional development. And there's other staff, including Rick Shelton, our Director of Distance Learning, who provides a lot of professional development opportunities via SUNY and outside organizations. What we really need to do is wrap all of this together to communicate the import to faculty, to provide opportunities for them, and to ensure that all of this professional development is coordinated in a way to benefit our students. So really exciting time, both for expanding offerings for students, for increasing our impact in research, and really ensuring that our core faculty and staff have the tools that they need to succeed.
Thank you.
Andy, the 14 are new in addition to the 10?
No, there's 4 new in addition to
4 new. Okay,
so, yeah,
thank
14
you.
total.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
All
Thank
in
you.
the last 8 months, 6 months.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, Andy. And what's exciting to see is how each one of these center seeds is becoming the nucleus for something major for SUNY Poly. And so the return on investment that we get by bringing our folks together from multiple disciplines is really strengthening our presence as a research university that also is committed to teaching. The other thing that's great here is we're going to be funding some seeds with a focus on teaching and teaching innovation. And so Andy is just about to make those announcements as well, so that in the end, what we do is we excite all our faculty, those that are committed to teaching and teaching innovation, as well as those that are committed to research, to develop these different activities that then provide our students with lots and lots of opportunities to get research exposure and innovative teaching outcomes that we are really hoping to engineer from these activities. Next, please. And then beyond that, we've been very encouraged by the Multicultural Center that was opened just last term. And since that point, this center has been a focal point for people from different cultures that are part of the SUNY Poly community. And so within this center, we have a safe space for education, for interactions that celebrate the diverse cultures of SUNY Poly. This is a center in the Cairn Library, on the ground floor section. And it's become a focal point for many students from different places to really engage in cultural activities that have really connected to the whole faculty and student body. So as we go forward, we're hoping to expand these activities into the student center, second floor, in ways that will enrich the possibilities for the students in this arena. Jen, do you want to say a few words about this?
Sure. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Really appreciate the support of the entire leadership team for the multicultural space at the cafe and the students that are programming that space. We are really excited to expand a little bit because what we found is the students want to be a little loud. They want to have live music and slam poetry and some things that we can't do in a library setting. So that the opportunity to expand over to the student center, it's gonna be even greater. So we're pretty excited about what's to come.
Thank you. Next, please. So this whole idea and focus on multicultural environment at SUNY Poly is of course occurring in a very, very different national climate where there's a very, very strong focus on executive orders and presidential actions, especially in the last few months. And so we've had to basically prepare ourselves for scenarios that can happen under those contexts. And so we've held tabletop exercises to prepare the leadership team for how to respond to possible interventions by FERPA and ICE. And we've also kind of developed our own SUNY protocols that are SUNY Poly protocols that are modeled on SUNY protocols that are provided from the Chancellor's office. And I have to say that the commitment of the Chancellor to this has really made it, quite honestly, viable for us to maintain our position and commitment to all of our students in this environment. And to also ensure that all of our staff and faculty are prepared to deal with scenarios of different kinds. We've had the VP for Student Affairs and the Chief of Police hold training sessions to inform our staff and also our faculty about FERPA requirements. And we plan to continue these with a focus on faculty in the next month or two to make sure that all the faculty are well prepared to deal with possible FERPA requirements as well as ICE visits that might occur to our campus. We've also had to deal with the issues around DEI, which has been a target for some of these monitoring, for some of these executive orders. And so here again, we've received very strong support from Chancellor King and the SUNY team with our commitment to a diverse and inclusive university and society. And what we've really doubled down on is to live our values. And so within this context, really looking at how we live our values in ways that support all of our students has been central to this effort. And of course, our VP and for DEIB has really been at the heart of many of our interactions with our students. And so, Mark, do you want to say a few words about what's going on at the system level, SUNY Poly level, and how we're supporting our students and community?
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. First and foremost, I'm just going to pretty much piggyback on what Wally just noted. As you can imagine, these conversations are not new with SUNY system, and that also involve the CDOs across the entire state. It's a wonderful partnership, conversation, solution orientated, and how that trickles down to our student population and even our faculty and staff is to provide that sense of calm, that sense of resolve, and that sense of steadiness as we move forward. And the last thing I want to say is certainly here at SUNY Poly, it's an honor to be in a space with this level of commitment because it is felt across our campus community and it is also felt outside of our campus community, especially for those who are looking to attend and work at this institution. It's been remarkable.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Next, please. So, as you could imagine, of course, we have to pay close attention to enrollment. And the enrollment, especially during this last year or so, has been supported significantly by our partnerships, especially with our community college partners, the largest of which is Mohawk Valley Community College. And so we've developed, as you know, the Path to Poly initiative, and that has really engaged all of our leadership in really serious interactions with our community college partners. Here we're showing an event that was held at MVCC just about a month ago, with most of our leaders in the student affairs and other areas really going out there to recruit students from MVCC. And in terms of the outcomes of this, we've seen a 37% increase in enrollment due to transfers of this type, which is a major, major outcome. And we're working hard to make sure that it's not just a spike, but that this continues to grow. And this particular activity was televised with Randy and I doing a sort of a tag talk, which I think got a lot of attention
It
from
did.
and quite honestly, it really felt great to be with Randy's team and our team and really see how the investments we've made in building this relationship really make these kinds of events possible. So we look forward to welcoming the Mohawk Valley team to SUNY Poly in April. And we will also make sure that we of course connect those students and to our environment in a way that will increase our yield from this year's transfers. Next, please. Now, one of the things that is really top of mind for us is really how do we enhance the student experience, the experience of being here socially and in a more holistic sense. And so as we look at the sort of 100 days till graduation, we've been looking at really balancing work with play by having organized activities, including Super Bowl party, number of events for Black History Month, which went really well this year. Breaking Barriers event, which also was a great event in February, where we brought some great musicians to really raise the spirits here at SUNY Poly. Women Who Inspire events was scheduled for March, and Women's Empowerment Night, Muslim Student Eid event that will be held at the end of the month. We've also made arrangements with the newly purchased van to provide transportation for our students to go to different places that are informed by a survey that was done in terms of what are the top places that students want to visit when they're not in class, right? And so really thinking about the student experience in that broader context.
And I appreciate that. That's great. Thank you.
One of the things that we're really proud about is the introduction of the Poly Pantry food lockers, which were commissioned this last Friday. And I wasn't there, but I know Andy was there to do the commissioning. And it was certainly a day that was a day of pride for us. You know, these are basically places where students that undergo food insecurity can get food in a dignified way anytime they need it, in a way that's supported by our community. So, Andy, do you want to say a few words about this?
It was Andrew.
Yeah, Andrea. And Andrea, while I've got the floor, if you don't get the OD, take a look at, I think it was yesterday, there's a great picture of Andrea and Walter high-fiving at this event. But Andrea, go ahead.
Andrea, please.
Sure. So this is something that's certainly near and dear to my heart. I've been involved really on the periphery of the Poly Pantry since it started, helping to garner support, financial support, donations of food and personal items. So this was a really special moment. Karen from the Central New York Food Bank is an alum of SUNY Poly, so it's really special for us to be working closely with her and her agency to provide our students with fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, items that we've really never had access to in the past that really help to support our students, break down barriers, providing them with access to the nutritious food that they need to concentrate on their studies. So really proud moment, very exciting for our students, and it was just really well attended. We appreciate Karen and her agency's support.
Great.
Thanks, Andrea. And this was also made possible by a $50,000 grant, I think, that we got from the Chancellor's office. So really wonderful to see this come into service. Next. Now, just wanted to also express our appreciation to Nice Tech for a $500,000 check that Andrea and I were lucky enough to receive from them not very long ago. Nice Tech is giving this towards an interdisciplinary business center that will be located in Donovan Hall. And this is really going to build the business mindset as well as a hub for innovation, entrepreneurship here at SUNY Poly. It's a gift that gets the naming rights for this new center, but also really provides us with a platform for integrating AI and cutting areas of fintech as well as business ethics into how we create the business mindset in every SUNY Poly student. So this 500,000 will be dispersed in $100,000 checks over the next 5 years and will contribute towards the establishment of an endowment of about $1.5 million that we're hoping to raise. So this is Andrea, do you want to say a few words here?
Yes, thank you, Wally. Yes, Minka is also an alum of SUNY Poly and has really been the driver of all of this, the support coming through Nice Tech. In addition to this $500,000 contribution and pledge that they've made to the business center, following this gift, immediately on the heels of this gift, they also pledged $40,000 to our upcoming Day of Giving. $25,000 that will be designated for the scholarship that they established years ago in honor of Michelle Salisbury, and then an additional $15,000 that will be used for K-12 programming. So we are just so incredibly appreciative to Nice Tech for their incredible support. They also give back of their time. Their employees are facilitating some of our K-12 program. So, and Yasminka is one of our STEAM Circle mentors to our female students. So just really thankful and grateful to Yasminka, Kevin, certainly, and all of the employees at Nice Tech.
Yes, thank you, Andrea. And I know, Rowan, this is near and dear to your heart as
It
one
sure is.
of NITEC as well.
Yeah.
Nice as well. So it's great. And then in addition to that, we've been really very lucky to have Steve and Gina Suresh be one of the supporters of our business center. In fact, in the early discussions we had, they were the first to say that they would give $75,000 to help get this started. And then on the day of the issuance of the check, they decided to add another $25,000. And so here is the picture of Andrea and myself sort of receiving their money. But they've done much more than that. They continue to connect us to others and give up their time, really interacting with different folks that are helping to build out this activity. And just yesterday, we had another session with Steve Charest, and another donor who's going to contribute another between $100,000 and $200,000 to this business center. So we're now in a position to fund the construction work, and that will cost about $200,000. And so the center will be opened at the end of the summer, so start of the fall term. Next, please. And then beyond that, we are making good progress towards hopefully another record year. Last year was the record year. I think we had $227,000. This year, we're hoping for $300,000. And so, Andrea, do you want to tell us how we're going to get there?
I do. So last year we actually raised 210,000. And we certainly do have money going into this year's Day of Giving. We've got generous sponsors who contribute every year and pledge their support prior to the actual day. Last year at this time, we had about $175,000 going into our Day of Giving. I'm really happy to report that as of today, we have 197,700. So we're very close, and we've actually got several asks that are still pending. So we do have a $40,000 matching gift that will be used on the actual Day of Giving. So I would certainly like to invite all of our College Council members to support our efforts, and I'm really hoping that together we can all take advantage of that matching gift on the actual Day of Giving. And take advantage of that full $40,000. You will be receiving emails and communications from us, so please be sure to look for those. And again, we appreciate your generous support, and certainly you can designate the area that's most impactful to you to apply your gift.
And that 40,000 is dollar for dollar?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any questions from anybody? Okay, thank you.
And then we've been making good progress with the campus center. The geothermal installations are now complete, which will provide us with cost-efficient, sustainable energy for our campus. The entire roof the new roof is also complete with skylight, and we're making good progress in the project, which is ahead of schedule. Next, please. And our collaborations continue to grow with industry, with higher ed, with different agencies, with government, and with community. And what's exciting is how we're now clustering these collaborations and now using these to drive a new trifecta approach to our strategy. So if you think about the sort of Raleigh-Durham area with their triangle, this is our own equivalent in this region in terms of the impact that we're trying to drive. So the keys to this are shown at the notes. We have initiatives in business, advanced manufacturing, the health sciences, biomedical arena, as well as the intersections between info, AI, cyber, and quantum. Within that triangle, we're trying to build research, innovation, workforce development, industry-driven programs that really drive economic prosperity. And so what we're doing is building partnerships with key stakeholders. So in the life sciences area, folks like the Masonic Medical Research Institute, as well as the Mohawk Valley Health System, Wynn Hospital, and Rome Health are our key partners. Within the area of business and advanced manufacturing, we're growing partnerships with Danfoss, Global Foundries, Indium Corporation, Micron, and Wolfspeed. All of these are industry partners that we work with for not just research and projects, but also in education and workforce development. And then in the whole quantum, info, AI, cyber interface, we have our interactions with the Air Force Research Labs, AIS, Griffith Institute, and NICE-Tech. And so in these relationships, we expand our presence, we leverage them for research, we leverage them for projects, and we also try to make sure that the work that we do here is really supporting these entities that are driving the economy of the region. And so this is the framework that we're building on. It's a strategic framework for us, and it's enabling us to really expand our impact here in the Mohawk Valley and beyond. Wayne, do you want to say a few words here?
You covered it. I mean, I think in past meetings, we've talked quite a bit about consortiums, and the President and I have had many conversations. Those consortiums, if we just treat them separately, we don't advance in an interdisciplinary strategic fashion. And so this is a way to really bring these partners together and view it from this trifecta approach. So we're excited about it. We're also, over the next month, we'll be preparing vision statements for each of these three nodes, but then one that really ties it all together. And so what we'll be able to do is use those vision statements for meetings with partners, meetings with future partners, but most importantly, provide that to our elected officials and funding agencies that can really wrap their arms around this concept and support SUNY Poly moving forward, as well as our partners.
Thank you, Wayne. And then in terms of how we're sort of seeing our role, we see our role as local and global. And so we've been forming intentional partnerships as we seek to expand our global footprint. And of course, from that global footprint, we can begin to draw new students in ways that strengthen us, as well as new resources to drive our goals. So one of the goals that is actually a SUNY-wide initiative is a SUNY Africa initiative that's part of a SUNY Global initiative. And the Chancellor has asked for President Nwosu from Oswego and I to lead a team to really help with the formation of the SUNY Africa initiative. This is an effort that's being supported by Wayne and Dan and a number of us here, working in partnership with Peter's team. And we've been interacting with ambassadors, we've been interacting with many leaders from a number of African countries. Here we're showing you a picture with Kenya's ambassador to the UN, who visited us, I think, just last week, to talk about how we can work together in areas such as artificial intelligence and research and faculty exchange and student exchanges that we hope to begin this year. And so as we develop these activities, not only for SUNY Poly or not only for Oswego, what we're really doing is developing a framework that will become part of a SUNY-wide SUNY Africa initiative. Similar initiatives are going on in Asia, Latin America, and other parts of the world. And ultimately, what SUNY is trying to do is to establish its global footprint and recruit more students and talent from different parts of the world. Next, please. Then beyond that, we've been trying to punch above our weight through the strategic teams that we have formed. And in terms of the defense appropriation requests, here's a summary of what we have for this year. Wayne, do you want to take this?
Yeah, and I'll be brief. I know we're probably exceeded our allotment, but just real high level, we've shared these projects, these appropriation requests that we submitted last March and April. The best way I could summarize this is we've had a 50% success rate. If you look at the first one, we have $5 million in a Senate markup, and the one on the bottom, we have $4 million. The top one, we're the lead. The bottom one, we're partnering with Northeastern University. So that gives you a sense for half of our project submissions are likely to receive funding. The second one I will share with you, it's a potential $20 million initiative. We've been investing an awful lot of time. Our faculty have actually gone down and met with DoD program managers. They've been up here. We introduced Xerox into the mix to help strengthen this project, and we have bipartisan support across Congress. So we're seeking that to be added to the budget. The third project did not make the cut, so there's no progress in advancement. What I will share with you, we're We're a little unease at the moment with regard to the current budget situation. I'm
Yeah.
sure you all are watching the news relative to a potential continuing resolution. And if that's not reached, we have a government shutdown as of this Friday. So there's a lot at stake here, depending on where they go. If a continuing resolution is passed, there's the potential that all funding of the fiscal year 25 appropriations would be eliminated. But there's a lot of talk right now that defense appropriations, because of the importance, would be saved. So rather than taking up a lot of your time, I just want to let everyone know our business consultant, Command Strategies, is monitoring the situation with and for us. I have a call with them first thing tomorrow morning. And we're keeping a watchful eye on this, hopeful that we'll be in good shape and we'll bring those funds into the campus. And then just one final piece, just to give you a sense, we don't stop. We've already been engaging in discussions on what projects that we'd submit appropriation requests for this coming year for the fiscal year 26 budget. There's a total of $85 million in projects. And every single one of these aligns really well with our faculty PIs, our research efforts with Mike Carpenter, and certainly Wally's support and backing. So just gives you a sense for, we smell a little bit of this success. And as Wally said, we want to punch above our weight, and we're continuing to work in this regard. And one final thing, continue to develop relationships with Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, and our new Congress member, John Mannion. We actually have a meeting set up with the congressman next week. So we're continuing to move forward in areas.
Good work.
And then, thanks, Wayne. And then in terms of forthcoming graduation ceremony, we have graduation speakers to announce. Guru Mahadevan is Norm Augustine Senior Scholar at the U.S. National Academy of Engineering. He's an alum, and so he will be doing the speech at the College of Engineering graduation in the morning. And our own very own Maria Contaridis will be giving the speech to the Colleges of Arts and Sciences, Business and Health in the afternoon graduation ceremony. So looking forward to those two exciting talks at this year's graduation in a few weeks' time. Next, please. And so with that, we're happy to answer your questions. We hope that you can see that we've had a busy but productive time. And hopefully you can also see the outcome of a lot of the investments that have been made in a number of initiatives. Thank you very much.
I think we owe everybody a round of applause because I think we've come a long way. And I want to really applaud everyone, your whole executive team and academic team, for really moving SUNY Poly forward. And you are definitely above your weight in getting things done. So thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else like to make a comment? Hearing none. Okay. Thank you. And we will go to Dr. Andrew Russell, Middle States update and enrollment update. And let me just comment, I will not be in town for the visit of the Middle States, but I want to thank Keith Levatino and Bill Thixton for being the College Council representatives and meeting with the reaccreditation group of Middle States this month, and I appreciate it because it entailed a briefing along with attending a meeting with the Middle States. So thank you to both of you for stepping in for that process. Andy?
Thanks, Roanne. Yeah, and thanks to all the College Council, especially to the members who are going to join us next week. So I'll go through these pretty quickly and can share these slides with the council after the meeting. So this slide is just to inform you about, remind you about what a reaccreditation is, the fact that it's required for federal funding.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Dan, can you admit Keith Levatino into the meeting, please?
Are you sure that's him, the iPhone?
We're absolutely sure that's who that is.
Yes, he just chatted with me. Yes.
Okay, Steve, can you admit him? Steve Perda? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Keith,
Yes, thank you, Rowan.
you're welcome. Okay.
So I know you were just hanging on every word and couldn't wait for me to get started again. So Middle States Commission on Higher Education, or MSCHE, is our regional accreditor. Again, reaccreditation is required to receive state and federal funding. And this is something that happens every 8 years. Middle States is the major player in our region. The process is lengthy and extensive. I think it's a healthy process for the campus to go through a self-study according to the standards established by Middle States. We write a report, we collect and share documentation. It is really a campus-wide effort consisting of groups of staff, faculty, and students who gather the documentation, write the report, and communicate with Middle States liaisons on a regular basis. The final step is this self-study. It's 100 pages. And then the last hurdle is the evaluation visit that happens starting on Sunday. So the self-study was submitted at the end of January. It is posted on our website and in my hand. The evaluation team consists of 8 people who have gone through training from Middle States. They're volunteers. They work in higher education as faculty and or administrators at different campuses, all within the region. They set the itinerary, and there's a couple members of the College Council, as Rowan indicated, who have been invited to meet with them during their visit. So there's an extensive schedule for those 3 or 4 days. I'm not going to get into all that, just to focus on what the members of the College Council should expect. And I have to say that Carly Phipps, who's our co-chair of our self-study, has performed heroically in pulling together the self-study and leading a very detailed agenda for this visit, which I'm sure will go really well. So the College Council's role in this visit isn't a quiz, but the visiting team and their members are going to ask about the College Council, how it works, their impressions of working with the college. Many aren't familiar with the SUNY system, but we're fortunate that the chair of our visiting team used to be a provost at SUNY New Paltz and is very familiar with the SUNY system. There's also people with CUNY experience, and several are from the Pennsylvania state system as well. So we've asked all members of the campus to take a look at the self-study. There's 7 standards. The standard that pertains to College Council is Standard 7, Governance, Leadership, and Administration. We'll also make sure that the entire College Council has a copy of the self-study for the riveting Chapter 7, which is real page-turner. Please also maintain your familiarity with the strategic plan. SUNY also takes an interest in this. We share information across campuses about what Middle States is doing and some trends. And also they are, maybe checking in on us a little bit, which we welcome. Given all their support of SUNY Poly, we really embrace it anytime someone from SUNY wants to visit us here in sunny Utica. And finally, just to give you a sense of the evaluation team members, it's Dr. Arnold, who's the team chair in the upper left. She's the one with SUNY New Paltz provost experience. And you can get a sense from the titles and affiliations of the 8 members of the evaluation team that they're really at a wide range of institutions in the Northeast region, all of them outside New York State, but all of them deeply committed to the Middle States process and to this cycle of self-assessment and continuous improvement, which is really the purpose of this exercise. So I'm happy to take any questions about that. And I can also move over to an enrollment update.
Thank you. I think we're
quick
going
one.
to prepare our 2 college council members, and if they have any questions, I'm sure you'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah.
Just a quick one, Andrew. Can you send me and Keith links to those documents that you think we should familiarize ourselves with, just in case we want to double check them?
I will do that tonight. Yep.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Any other questions? Okay. So I'm happy now to jump into an enrollment update. Hoping you can see this one as well.
Yes.
Great. So a lot of numbers here. Let me draw your attention to how this is structured. This is drawn from a report that Alicia Foster, our Associate Provost for Enrollment Management, shares with the campus every week. These are hot off the press today. So first year applications are significantly up, due in part to a SUNY initiative that auto-admitted a top tier of students from select schools to campuses that matched with them. So we're happy to see this number up. It also means that our yield might not go up proportionately as one might expect, because these students, some of them had never even heard of SUNY Poly. So it's a great opportunity to get in front of those students and to tell them about all the great things happening here. Acceptances are up, and deposits, I had to do a calculation earlier, and it's 0.01%. We're down by 1 deposit for those of you who are a little competitive like me in keeping track. So these vary week to week, and Alicia, like I said, sends these on Tuesday afternoons. President Sobiejo talked about how our transfer deposits and numbers were up significantly last fall. We also need to manage expectations a little bit. We're not going to rise 37% year over year. So we're trailing just a bit behind, but have some yield initiatives and application initiatives. The transfer students tend to apply late. So we're confident that this number will rise significantly. Our goal is certainly to match where we were last year, if not to grow a little bit. On the graduate side, our international interest is up. Deposits are up. We're up across the board. Domestic graduate, we're trailing a little bit, but you'll see the asterisk below. We've got about 80 decisions for a master's in family nurse practitioner that we'll release here in the next few weeks. The faculty take a very rigorous approach to reviewing these candidates. They interview them all. They do this as a service for all of us because we don't want family nurse practitioners going out into practice and being essentially your primary care physician unless we are absolutely certain that they're going to succeed in the program and succeed professionally. So we give them a little bit more time to run the rule over those students. The story on this slide, again, a lot of numbers here, but the overall story is down here. So that's our student head count as of the census date. That's the date in spring when there's no more adds or drops to students. Here's a total number of credits, and the full-time equivalent is 2089. As you see below, it's a modest increase in head count. A little bit more significant increase in credits, and more significant increase in FTE. So I'm really proud of our team. As you all know, there's significant headwinds due to the demographic cliff here in our part of the world, and a lot of competition in higher education. We see consistently stories about other institutions closing or cutting budgets or hiring freezes. We're not doing that here. We're growing. We're growing at a steady and responsible rate. So how are we going to continue that growth? Thank you for asking. Have over 100 visits for spring travel from our amazing team of admission counselors. That includes 20 in the New York City area, 5 out of state, and the remainder in different parts of upstate New York. They take a data-driven approach to selecting where to visit and when to visit. So schools with a high number of applications and their college fair decisions are based on historical data so that we can really capture areas that we know are going to come and also attend to areas where we haven't seen deposits at the rate that we had expected given population in those areas. Some campus-wide yield events. The first one on February 21st went very well. One coming at the end of next week, and then the final one on April 12th. Also, I have a program where high school students can shadow SUNY Poly students to really get a feel for a day in the life. This is a very popular program. Started as a grant-funded program in engineering that we've expanded to the entire campus. So we know that students will come here and stay here once they see what it's like to be a student here at SUNY Poly. EOP event at the SUNY Welcome Center in New York City for deposited students. Again, just to make sure they come, and melt reduction means that they don't decide that they want to do something else over the summer once the reality sets in. And so we stay in constant communication with the students and their families during that period. And final thing to highlight on the bottom is the collaboration with MVCC that Wally alluded to before. We're doing the swap here. Already went to MVCC, and on the 25th of April, MVCC will come to us so that the students really understand who the different people are that they'll work with, not only faculty but staff offices, so that they really feel a part of the family ahead of the beginning of classes in August. And then there's a thank you slide. That's my presentation. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Andy. Any questions from anyone? Okay. We are going to go to Michelle Kilburn, training dates for College Council. This is very important. So some of you came on the College Council board prior to my being the chair, and some have since I've been. I know Amela has had the opportunity to have a conversation and received all of the guidance, the manual, but many of you have spoken to me and said that you have never really had any training. I have requested, and through my organization that we all belong to, the Association of College Trustees Act, they are asking that we do a major training of College Council members, especially if we haven't done it in a long time. So Michelle Kilburn, would you respond to that for us?
Absolutely. One of the immediate things I'd like to offer is we could host some of these during this session, maybe do half an hour to an hour, or we can do separate. I can also look at maybe trying to find some recorded sessions that you could participate in, but I'd really like to hear what your preferences are in regards to that. Would you prefer something in person, hybrid?
I think we should do hybrid, and if some people can, if we can accommodate people coming on campus, I think it would be good to do that. But I also recognize that everyone has very busy schedules, both professionally and personally. So maybe we should do, hybrid. But I know you all remember Zuleika, who helped with our search. She is the ACT. She's the liaison to ACT, and the chancellor is really interested in making sure that our College Council members are well informed and understand their role and also have some basis for, making sure that they're trained properly and understand what their role is. So I do believe that we need one to participate in this.
Right. So I think we should break it down because some of these trainings might be a little longer than you anticipate. An example would be a requirement is the sexual harassment and prevention training. That one's a little bit longer. So you're going to want to schedule a 90-minute session for that one. If there's a way, once I look at some guidelines, and I'd like to review that if I may be able to scale it back. But I don't want to speak to that until I know for certain.
Right.
And I will get a list of the required trainings from SUNY just to make sure we're not missing anything. So we could probably expect to do something over the next couple of months if you guys are amenable to that.
Yes, and why don't you, for each training, could you do like a Survey Monkey or one of those where we can get dates where
Sure.
people
Sure. A
can,
doodle poll for
yeah,
dates.
a doodle poll, yeah.
Yep. So what I'll do is I'll put together a schedule of what the trainings should be. I'll present that to you, Roanne, and then maybe we can work to get that out to the rest of the council. How does that
Yes.
sound?
Yes, it sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. I'll make it happen.
Okay, so the changes to Code of Conduct and Title IX Hearing Board, does somebody have a question? I'm sorry. Did I miss somebody's comment or? Does anybody hand up? No, okay. Jennifer and Brittany, this was a lot to digest. And I did get some calls from some council members who feel that they didn't have the manual, they didn't have access to the current code of conduct. So they're not like understanding, the current language, the proposed. So how important is it that we vote on this today, Jennifer?
I mean, I think Chair DeStito, it's important that you vote on it when you're comfortable with the material. And if that's not today, I think that Brittany and Kathy and I would prefer to receive your questions and your thoughts and send you
So
a full
why
code.
don't we go through the immediate changes to the current code, discuss it, and then I need to ask everyone if they feel comfortable, actually voting on it, or if they would like to, digest it. I know we did send it out. I know we did change the date of this event, of this meeting, but I do think that we need to, we have to make sure everybody's comfortable with it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think Dr. Montgomery would chime in with me to thank Brittany and Kathy for navigating our code in a very tumultuous time as it relates to Title IX and New York 129B. This was a tremendous lift for them. These items that are in here, I'm going to turn it over to Brittany to run through them for you.
Yep.
None
Please.
of them we didn't initiate these. These were all initiated by our SUNY legal team and are
Right.
recommended by them. But we definitely want you to be comfortable with them before you endorse them.
Yep, absolutely. So Kathy, chime in if I miss anything. So let me pull it up. I believe you all have it, but I will pull up my document just in case so everyone can see it. Okay, can everyone see this Word document?
No, I don't.
I don't.
No.
Just a black screen, Brittany.
Oh,
There it is.
There
Yep.
it is.
got it.
So the first one, and I tried to organize them in terms of which ones are pretty substantial changes. So the first one is the board makeup. So right now, our hearing board is comprised of 5 people, 2 students, 2 faculty and staff, and then 1 chair who usually is either faculty or staff just because of the additional training. The proposed change is to drop it from 5 to 3, and then we changed the language to include in hearings where neither the respondent nor complainant are faculty and staff, one of the board members shall be a student. Which is very confusing when you hear it, but the justification, so we learned with 129B and even Title IX, in the event that there is a hearing where we have to, like a student and a faculty member, or student and staff, whether they're the complainant or respondent, we have to send it to a hearing board. So say it's an employee, they'll go through the hearing board process, and if found responsible, then the outcomes go to HR to handle. But leading up to that, it's through a hearing board. So with the way that it's currently written, we would have to have students on a hearing board potentially involving faculty or staff, which was a big red flag for SUNY OGC. Also, in addition to that, so if it was a faculty or staff member, the board has to be made up of individuals who are not in their bargaining unit. So that was another reason why bringing it down to 3, to make it more attainable to have that many trained board members within different bargaining units. And then in addition to that, so if I have 5 board members, my appellate board also has to be 5 different board members. So bringing down the total number of members and then making it more flexible in terms of who makes up the board case by case. We talked about making sure that if it's truly a student case, student complainants, student respondents, whatever the board makeup it, or whatever the situation may be when it's just students, we want a student on that board to be able to partake in that decision-making process.
How were the students identified, Brittany?
For the hearing board?
Yes.
So I put a call out to any students who are interested, and then they would go through training. So all the hearing board members go through training.
And training and vetting. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah. We check their conduct. We check their grades. We make sure that they are a good representation of our students. And then
it appears that the examples you gave us, most of the schools have a 3-person board, except maybe Buffalo State.
Yeah. And some of them leave it super vague for this exact reason. So if they have one of those strange situations where it's a faculty and student, they have that flexibility. Like New Paltz has 3 with at least 1 trained, but like Delhi has trained faculty, staff, and students. It doesn't say how many, it doesn't say the composition. So we thought dropping it to 3 and then putting that language about if neither complainant or respondent are faculty and staff, then a student shall be on the board.
I have a concern. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
I have a concern about there being 1 student on a student disciplinary panel. It just doesn't, it seems like it might limit the perspective of the decider of that hearing. Does anyone else share that?
Yeah, I understand that. Like if there's a conflict of interest with regard to bargaining units, couldn't there be a conflict of interest student to student?
So when a student, sorry, I should have covered that. So before a student has a board hearing, they meet with me and we go over every single step of the hearing board process. And part of that is seeing the list of people who are trained hearing board officers, going person by person to verify that if they have any concerns, if they have any prior interactions. So the student who's going forth into the disciplinary hearing has that ability to hear who would potentially be on it, or I'm lucky enough and I've had it booked and I know who it is, I could tell them and go through who it is that is on there, and then they have that opportunity. So if they express a conflict of interest, we find another member to be on there. Same with even if they were like on a sports team, and like I have a couple coaches on there. If they're like, I'm on men's basketball, I would pull Rob from my hearing board, just so there's that neutrality.
I appreciate that response very much. I'm also thinking of, I know that the disciplinary process is not a due process. It has less to do with due process than it does with education after reading the disciplinary manual. But I wonder if it further reduces due process to have only one student. That's just a thought, and I don't have a position on it at this point.
That I do understand that. Does anyone else want to make a comment? Oh, Mitch?
I've never seen the manual, so I'm only getting bits and pieces of this, so it's hard to formulate any kind of opinion at all. I would like to see the full manual before we move forward with this.
I can do that. Yep.
This is Nicole Hidman. Sorry, I can't figure out how to raise my hand on my screen.
Yes.
I agree with both of Chris Druzzi's comments as well. I have a question. I really don't feel comfortable either reducing it from 5 to 3. I understand the thing about the collective bargaining unit piece of it. I didn't follow the first reasoning for why it was going from 5 to 3. When you said if there was a situation where a student wasn't involved, so staff or faculty and a student wasn't involved in the hearing, is there some, and you wouldn't, I don't know if you were trying to say you wouldn't want a student in a hearing if a student wasn't involved, or is there some type of carve out for a student wouldn't be on the panel if a student wasn't involved in the hearing? I didn't follow that first piece.
So if they were coming to the hearing, a student would be involved in some way. I believe, and Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, would a pure Title IX between faculty and staff also come to the hearing board? Or would that, we haven't had that case yet. I'm not sure, because I don't know how faculty or staff fall under our code of student conduct. But it would be mostly like if a student either brought a complaint against faculty staff or faculty staff brought a complaint against a student. Those were whenever we bring a staff member in or faculty member in, we also have to then be mindful of their bargaining units and.
Right. Okay, no, that's fine. I must have misunderstood you then. So a student, this scenario, a student is involved either as a petitioner or a respondent in some portion of the hearing, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so then I definitely agree even more that there should be more than one student representative. From the perspective, I understand the conflict of interest. You're going to screen those folks out beforehand, but I think from the student perspective, I think it's beneficial to have more than one.
It is also, not having a student would be if it was an employee to an employee complaint. So if an employee brought a Title IX complaint against another employee, they would still go through our regular conduct board for the hearing portion. And then once responsibility was found, it would then kick over to HR for the sanction and disciplinary piece. So the not having a student piece would solely be if it is an employee to an employee.
And so if it's an employee to an employee, do these rules apply that we're talking about? That's where I'm trying to be clear.
Yes.
They do. Okay. So you would potentially have a student on the board, on the committee then, if it was an employee?
We would not want, general counsel does not want a student on an employee to an employee case.
And do you already have a carve out for that exception or no? No. You already have language to that effect that a student wouldn't be on?
No, see, that's the problem. I think we don't we don't have the full
Right.
policy.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I understand it all.
No, and I think
Oh, and
these are,
it
no,
is very
Nikki, I am agreeing with you in that the questions, we need these questions, and I'm not sure we should vote on them until we have the, the policy and the answers.
Yes, I agree with Mitch and Roanna. I would like to see these in the context of the whole policy.
Yeah, and I'd also just like to understand, I'm sorry, because I don't know, like Title IX employees applies to who versus what just applies to the students, and are there different rules for that?
On why are rules about employees in a student code of conduct in the first place?
Right.
Employee stuff would seem to me to belong in a different place entirely.
HR is always present for anything that involves an employee. Hi, this is Michelle speaking, by the way.
Right.
And we work, there's one system that we use as a reporting system. Those reports come in, as Kathy articulated. If it's employee to employee, HR conducts those investigations alongside of Kathy. They're not done independently. And then from that point, we do not include any students because that's a breach of confidentiality because of employment agreements, bargaining units, all of those types of things. That is under the guidance of SUNY system and general counsel. So what you're requesting is in this written policy, you'd like to see that documented that way. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I think the problem is that we have an issue with who has received documents when they became council members and who hasn't. And I'm going to offer it up as we were lacking in leadership back then. I didn't even get a full, document. I didn't get all the full documents when I came on, but we were also, lacking, our own leadership, executive leadership. And I think now we need to just, mend these ways and make sure that everyone, I mean, I know Amela sat with Wole and myself, and we went through everything. Amela got all of the documents. Correct, Amela? You received everything. I don't think everyone has been afforded that. Those who came before me and those who came after. And I apologize. But honestly, until I started participating in the ACT conferences and learning from SUNY system what we need to do and what our council members are their roles and responsibilities, which I will also recommend that some of you start to come to some of the ACT conferences because it is a learning experience for college council members. SUNY general counsels come. We have a lot of SUNY system people who present to us, and I think you would have a better idea of what your roles and responsibility are if you come to some of those meetings. So I think that we could go through some of these and then defer. I would even say that maybe we could have another Zoom meeting in April. We won't wait till the quarter. Wole, if that's okay, April, April, mid-April or whatever before the break. I think there's some kinds of breaks. Depending on everybody's schedule, we won't conflict with, spring break or anything like that. But I think we need a little more time to digest and have our questions answered and then come to a full vote.
Joanne, may I make a suggestion?
That's my recommendation. I don't know if anybody would like to comment on it.
Joanne, this is Michelle again. Might I offer that we conduct a Title IX training and a 129B training? Kathy is very good at them. She can provide you with everything that is introduced to students and faculty and staff. which I think is going to give you and the team greater context for when we're actually reviewing the policy.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
And then for the current code, would you rather I send like a track changes so you could see where the changes are, where the proposed language is? Is that the easiest to read, or?
I believe so.
Okay, I have that.
So, Roanne, would you like to have that Title IX training in April? And the
Yes.
120? Yes. Okay.
But you're going to have to, you're going to have to find a date when everyone is able to do it. And I don't know, it might have to be, I know it's probably going to have to be after work hours or whatever, because we have a lot of people who have busy schedules. So, and kind of we have to stay away from, the spring break time and the holiday time. So April becomes.
Kathy, are you amenable to doing this remotely?
Sure, whatever works for everyone.
Thank you, Kathy.
Absolutely.
So we'll get a doodle poll sent out for a date. And Kathy, you can work with Aaron in regards to that and getting that sent out. If you'd like.
Could we get track changes for all of these? And then I think we could. Well, do you want to go on? Do you want to go on to the next one?
Yeah, I can. The next couple are mainly things we have to add. So 129B, we don't have any language in there in the code, just saying that our code of conduct does also include 129B. So until you get the synopsis version of 129B versus Title IX. So when we met in the summer with all those proposed changes for the 2024 regs, 129B was New York's version of kind of like the backstop. So if they did the new regulations, the 2024 regulations were pulled back, New York State put something into effect to kind of catch it. It mainly deals with the location. So with Title IX, with the 2020 regs that we are following, we are bound by very rigid criteria in which we can investigate and what actually meets that threshold of a Title IX case. 129B makes it more open, so it's not location bound. So it could be, as long as one party is tied to SUNY Poly, either as a student, faculty, or staff, we can review it for 129B. Doesn't have to happen on campus. Doesn't have to, I'm trying to think some of the other things. It just makes it more vague. The best way to explain it is it makes it more vague so you're able to utilize it, but it's saying that this incident occurred and it might also meet Title IX, but it happened off campus. So then you process it in 129B, which is just sending it through conduct. So for our case, we already have Category 2 designation. So those are any sexual or gender-based incidents. But we don't have the language that's part of the actual law. So that's what this paragraph addition is. So just acknowledging that our code of conduct is covering 129B. This is pretty much the guidance for 129B. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty vague compared to the many, many pages of the 2024 regulations that we didn't end up utilizing. So it pretty much gives everything from what we can investigate, how we send notification. So it's a little bit different than Title IX in terms of how we notify people, when we notify people. It talks about the hearing a little. It's different than in Title IX, but it just adds that language in there to cover us. We have the language in there. It says we have to follow state and federal laws, but this makes it a little bit more specific. Just putting it right in there under the Student Bill of Rights. The next one was the change of the definition. So our current language, we have a definition for non-consensual sexual contact, and that's the full definition. To align our code with what's in both Title IX and 129B, SUNY OGC recommended that we kind of reorganize it a little. So breaking down that into two different ones, sexual assault and then sexual harassment. And then under that, kind of then including all the different types. So non-consensual sexual contact, which is a slightly less specific definition. So this is the exact verbiage that's in 129B. And then non-consensual sexual intercourse, that didn't change, neither did the sexual exploitation. And then bumping it out again to sexual harassment. So the two categories within that one category charge. And then the two definitions for those. So it could be this or that. So it has to meet that status. Those are the definitions that are in the legislation. So by putting it in, it meets both 129B and Title IX. And then this one was changing some, not definitions, but like descriptive. So it's changing it from intimate partner violence to domestic violence, which is the like approved or the most used language for that. And it aligns it with Title IX and 129B. And then this last one, just to point out, the only major addition is, and this was specifically from OGC, just adding this language in there. So in cases being processed under Title IX grievance procedure, the advisor is permitted to ask the other party and witnesses all relevant questions and follow-up questions during the live hearing. Currently in our code, our advisors are more there as like support people. And 129B, they would fall under they're there for support people. But for Title IX within the grievance policy, advisors ask the questions to the other parties. We don't have that indicated anywhere, so they just encouraged us to put that line in there.
Okay.
When I do the training, I will make sure that I track them at the same time. They're not as different as they sound.
Honestly, I think, I mean, I've gone through this as an elected official. I've gone through this as, a commissioner. I don't know that everybody on the college council has been through all this. And I think we need more training. So I really do. I think the training has to come first. I apologize.
No,
but I did get some calls from council members, and I made sure, I assured them that we weren't going to just, move this to a vote without people fully understanding.
Yep. Yeah. I will say, so these were the immediate ones that OGC was like, red flag, this needs to change. All of the campuses are going to, well, us specifically are going to be looking at the code and making sure that everything is where it needs to be. It's not just us. SUNY, OGC, especially the attorneys we've been working with, have noted that everyone's codes are kind of like Frankenstein together, that have been changes here and there because of legislation, because of things going on. So they are going to be providing us with some guidance on some key things, like there's the new hazing policy we're going to have to put in here. So they're going to give us some guidance on that. So this summer, I imagine Kathy and I will be spending a lot of time going through the code line by line.
Yes.
So there may be more substantial changes coming, but these were the ones that SUNY was like,
Kathy, and they did talk about it at our ACT conference last fall. So, yeah.
Okay.
And then just to point out this last one, it was just changing to support the parties from to supporting the reporting individual throughout, to make sure that not just the reporting person, but the person responding to that report also has the ability to request accommodation.
Right. Well, I guess I need to hear from the college council. Do we want to delay all of the votes until another time, or what is everyone, could someone speak to
So,
this?
Roanne, it's Keith. So we can vote on each individual change?
Yes, they're individual changes, yes. And I think the only one that's not really controversial is the accommodation one.
Agreed.
Agreed.
So do you want us to vote on that? Because I think the accommodation one could probably be passed, but I think the rest of them, I think we need a bigger context for all of our college council members.
It's up to you.
I agree.
We
I
haven't
agree.
had anything come up with the
Right.
accommodations. It was more a grammatical recommendation.
Right.
But if you,
I
I
would
get
take
it.
I would take a motion to agree to the accommodations. And we'll get that one off, and then we'll just have the other 5, right?
Yep. I
Okay.
think when we have the FERPA, or not the FERPA, excuse me, the training for Title IX and 129B, Brittany, maybe we can bring this back around too, so we
Yeah.
can have it voted on.
out.
Would that be appropriate?
Sure.
Okay. All right, great.
And
So we'll do all in
I
one.
would suggest that I don't think we should wait for another quarter for this. I
I
think
agree.
we should have the training, and
Yep.
then I will call a special council meeting for only the purpose of doing this.
Okay.
Is that, President, are you okay with that?
I'm fine with that. And I'd also suggest we send a highlighted copy to all the
Okay.
council members so that
Yes.
people have time to read and digest this.
John, do you have your hand up? John Adams?
I do, yeah. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask someone from SUNY Legal who's made these recommendations to speak to our council.
I was just going to say that. We could have someone, when we schedule our next meeting, we could have someone speak to this. I find it very helpful when I attend these conferences that we do have those people in front of us. We have the general counsel. We have, we have the chancellor. We have, a lot of people are there talking to us and giving us information. So I'm going to throw another, public service announcement that college council members should try to attend some of these conferences, because they are very important to the work that you're doing. And as you see, this is very important work to our college, and our college is moving forward, and we have to be at the cutting edge of everything that is going on. And we have to make sure that we're in alignment with SUNY system and our general counsel. So,
Roanne,
yes.
Roanne, Keith, would you mind sending us upcoming dates of those conferences?
I will.
Thank you.
I absolutely will. Yes.
And then if there's an interest, we contact you and go through you?
Yes, you contact us, and yes, you contact myself and Dan Sargent. I will make sure Dan is on all of my my correspondence, so that the president's office is fully aware.
Do
Yes.
they take place in Albany?
They are. It is going to be in Albany. Yes, this year. It's in
Thank you.
October.
Thank you.
And it's very, very helpful, and it provides a lot of knowledge too. I think you will understand, and you will be around a lot of people who actually are doing the same thing. Some have a lot more experience than you, some have less experience than you, but we all learn at the same pace at these conferences. So,
Thank you.
Great.
okay. I have student government represented. So we're gonna table this and move to training as well as a document as the president has suggested. And then we will schedule, Dan Sargent and I will work on a schedule for the next special meeting of the College Council.
And
So Roanne, we're not going to take a vote on the one?
Well, Michelle, were you saying maybe not?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking that a training, do the training, and then, as you said, a special council meeting, and then, do it all at once. I think everybody's going to feel much more confident in that. That's my personal opinion. I would like to hear from VP Adams on that, though, as well, because this impacts students.
Yeah, I don't, I'm gonna look at Brittany. Is Brittany still on here? I'm gonna look at Brittany. I don't
Yeah.
think that last one is critical. I think
No.
it's not, it's just something the attorneys threw on when they were looking at the rest, not something that was a priority for us. The other ones, if we get a case with a student and a faculty member, we're going to have students on the board until we attend to this issue. So those are really the much bigger priority. I think you can just table the whole thing for simplicity and we can look at it in April.
Yeah, and I'll work with Dan on, or even my assistant on getting a doodle poll sent out so we can get this on the books and get it scheduled sooner than later.
I am sure that Brittany and Kathy and I would be glad to get on a call with anyone who some of you with a legal background are going to look at that code and your head's going to explode and you're going to have a ton of questions. And we would be glad for any of you that want to understand the context of how this section fits into the whole thing. We would be really glad to hop on separate individual calls and just answer questions and try to help make the April meeting go as smoothly as we can. I've been here for 15 years and I still have to go to the student code person and say, what do we do with this case? Where does this go? What path will it follow? Because it's a lot.
Well, to point out the really dumb question here, I don't even know what 129B is. People have been throwing that around for the last hour. Somebody needs to define it for
It's the state version of Title IX.
Well, okay, thank you, Roanne. But that's how basic the confusion is here, I think.
Yeah, we should have
as an
started. We
illustration.
should have started with that, Bill. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We get so ingrained in it, we forget. It's like those
Yeah.
acronyms.
Yes.
We forget other
Kind of
people.
like the acronyms, yeah.
Right,
And
all the acronyms, exactly. Yeah.
it's the backup of Title IX in the
Okay.
state of New York. Yes.
So, I mean, for some of us, I think you have to just start from the very beginning and
Right.
explain.
I recognize that, and thank you, everyone.
And in the meantime, we are going to get the full manual sent to us, or
Yes.
how can we get
Yes.
them?
Dan?
I will
Yes.
send it to them.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Can we move on? Okay. Student John Patel. Is John still with us? I'm not even sure.
I'm still here.
Okay. I know you were only elected Thursday. So would you like to make a statement? I'm sure you don't know a lot about what you're doing or whatever, but we welcome you. And as you can see, we have, good discussion. You're certainly welcome to participate in our discussion. And I'll give you the floor now.
Okay, I actually have a presentation.
Okay, great.
Okay, everyone can see my screen?
We can see it, yep.
Okay, thank you. I'm John. I am the new College Council student rep. Just like you said before, I was just elected on Thursday, but I'm really looking forward to working with everyone here. Oh, there we go.
Next, yep, okay.
So first of all, some updates on the student government end. The student government has now put into place wellness vending machines, or a vending machine. This is also known as Polly in a Pinch. So Polly in a Pinch provides free condoms, toothbrushes, toothpaste, pain medicine, and cold medicine to students who are in financial need. So that's really cool. This has been talked about for a year now and finally has been put on the second floor of the Student Center this fall. It has received a lot of use, and I'm really glad to hear that. The student government is now looking into Amazon lockers. So an Amazon locker would allow students to ship their packages to a designated locker where they would get some pin or some lock. And then that way they can just go directly to the locker instead of through a package room to receive their packages. So our students really love Amazon, and I'm hearing that there's a lot of positive things about this. Also, our special elections have concluded. So we have 5 re-elected senators, a new senator, and a new college council representative. And then the representative would be me.
And we welcome you. John, would you be able to make sure that Dan, we get the names of everyone and their year?
Yeah, I can send that to Dan.
Thank you. Yep. Okay, Wildcat Esports.
Yes. So in the fall, we had on our esports side, we had 9 teams, and across those 9 teams, each of those teams played 3 games, and in 2 leagues that span 2 leagues. Our esports reached top 3 in 3 competitions, and then top 8 in 3 other competitions. This is pretty good. They're performing well. In the spring, our esports are planning Fragfest, which is a 2-day bender for video games. They all get together and play a lot of video games for 2 days. I hope they shower. And they're also exploring coaching opportunities. So this is just to improve the professional skills of our players and also their gaming skills as well.
Great.
There we go. So for student athletics, our women's basketball team finished 6-19 with their final win versus Utica, which is pretty good. And our women's lacrosse team, their season just started, and they're only 1-1, but it is looking pretty prospective for them. Men's lacrosse, they've only played 1 game so far, but they won the game, and they have a game tomorrow, so I really hope that goes by well too. Our men's basketball team did really good this year. They were 18-10, and they made it pretty good into the Empire 8 championship, just losing and falling short to Utica University. Men's baseball are not doing as well. They're currently 1-4, and I don't really have much more on that. Our volleyball so far is positive. They're 15-9, and I believe in a week or 2 they have the SUNY Potsdam tri-match coming up, and I hear that they're really looking forward to it.
Can they play baseball outside right now?
I think they're practicing outside. Maybe someone could back up me on that.
Okay.
I don't know. What about their games?
They're in Florida.
Oh.
Yeah. It's spring break right now. I'm home.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Got it.
So our club funding board funds 41 active clubs. This year, they're funding 10 new clubs, and new clubs always means more funding. And from what I hear, the club funding board is working very hard and very diligently to make sure our 41 active clubs stay funded and are, spending the money in the right way as they should. So our club funding board has so far funded over 60 club events this semester, and they're doing a really good job of that.
Great.
Okay. So 2 clubs I really wanted to highlight are the Design and Development Club and the Wildcat Fluid Power Club. So in the top left, you'll see the president, Melvin. He is the president of the Design and Development Club, and they hold weekly skill development workshops. And these are mostly popular with students who aren't in an engineering discipline, which is really cool to hear. They teach very hands-on skills, including welding, 3D modeling, 3D printing, and laser cutting to everyone involved. So these are pretty popular, and I'm really glad what they're doing. They currently have 80 active members, which is really good to hear, especially because they just started in fall of 2023. So they're a fairly new club, and they're really rising in the spotlight. Our Wildcat Fluid Power Club is pretty cool too. They participate in a national fluid power challenge, with last year being the first time we have done it. This challenge entices creating a complex fluid power bicycle, but mostly they emphasize cross-discipline development. So their bike has advanced mechanical and electrical systems that is out of my pay grade, but I know it's pretty advanced, so it's really cool. I believe they're competing again in May, and I'm really looking forward to hearing how it goes. They also started in fall 2023. And that's all I have. So I'm open to any questions.
Any questions, anyone? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So President Wole would like a executive session, and we would like only the college council members to remain. So how will we do this? Will we come out of this? Who's going to explain this to everybody?
So the college council members and the VPs should stay on the meeting. Anyone that is not a college council member or not a member of the VPs group should log off the meeting.
Okay. Okay, so I need a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiations.
Make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against?